Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. इस रहस्यमयी कहानी की विश्लेषण में, we're stepping into the hidden, really shadowy world of Winston College. We are unpacking an ancient supernatural feud that's just been brewing in total secret. So, we're going to map out the exact sequence of events, the lore, and all those hidden agendas driving this absolutely wild story. Could a bloodthirsty supernatural entity literally be living quietly among us right now? Well, it all starts with that chilling question. Just imagine the eerie, super suspenseful atmosphere of a completely quiet college library. Our main character, Vincy, is intensely poring over the pages of this mystical book. She is deeply convinced that a Pishok, a vampire, might be hiding right there on campus. She even suspects the strict college principal. It sets up this incredible tension from the very get-go, really making us wonder who's actually human and who's just wearing a mask.
Section 1. Kabristan Ka Khuni Rahasya. The Graveyard's Bloody Secret.
So to kick things off, Vincy is walking with her friend Joe under an umbrella in the light snowfall of Shimla. And what's absolutely crucial here is the subtle foreshadowing. Joe aggressively pushes Vincy to skip going back to their room, and instead he wants to visit a graveyard late at night. Joe specifically targets Vincy's fascination with vampires just to manipulate her into going. And that, of course, leads to the inciting incident at this foul-smelling grave. While sitting there, Vincy decides to leave, but as she gets up, her dress gets tangled up in some bushes. When she reaches down to pull it free, she accidentally pricks her finger on a thorn. Now, that single, seemingly harmless drop of blood falling onto the soil is the exact biological trigger needed to set a massive, dark, magical chain reaction into motion.
Section 2. Pishach Ka Punarjanma. Resurrection of the Vampire.
And that brings us to a terrifying new development. Right in the dead of night, this mysterious researcher named Moina shows up at that exact spot in the graveyard. She's wearing a long white coat, a stethoscope around her neck, and she's carrying a suitcase. She knew exactly what she was looking for, Vincy's freshly spilled blood right there among the dead. The calculated dark science behind this ritual is honestly fascinating. Moina takes that soil-soaked blood back to her lab, which, by the way, feels way more like a freezing ice chamber. There, a lifeless, pale body lies in a glass coffin. Moina uses a syringe to extract her own vampire blood, mixes it with Vincy's, and creates this glowing blue liquid. The very second she injects this mixture into the corpse, the fallen Pishok, Winston, violently wakes up. Now, to fully grasp the stakes here, we really have to look at this overarching timeline. Exactly 25 years ago, Winston broke his clan's rules, trusted a werewolf, and was defeated, which is how he ended up in that glass coffin. Meanwhile, Vincy is actually a 24-year-old reincarnation of his past love. She just arrived in Shimla 2 months ago to study, and she possesses absolutely no memories of her tragic past life or, her connection to Winston.
Section 3. College Mein Naya Ajnabi. New stranger in college.
The pacing completely shifts as we head into the very next day. The newly resurrected Winston just struts right into the college, and he is strikingly handsome with these piercing blue eyes and unnervingly red lips. He radiates this intense, almost foreign energy that instantly catches the attention of everyone in the hallway, but especially Vincy. Their reunion, it's incredibly magnetic. When Vincy saves him from some campus bullies and grabs his wrist, a sudden gust of wind just blurs everyone's vision, literally stopping time around them. Vincy mentions that he doesn't seem to be from this world, and he replies, "Tum is shehr ki to nahi lagti, kyunki hoon hi nahi." You don't seem to be from this city because I'm not. But guys, the tension totally spikes when Vincy accidentally cuts her finger on a compass. Winston intensely struggles to suppress his predatory thirst. He's basically forced to quickly swallow his dry saliva and just run away before he loses control and attacks her. So the absolutely crucial point here is just how dangerous that thirst really is. I mean, Winston hasn't fed in a quarter of a century. We find out the terrifying reality of his starvation the very next day when Vincy reads the newspaper. In a single night, Winston slaughtered an entire wedding procession. He completely drained the blood of 30 innocent guests just to quench that immense thirst. That's a huge death toll for just one night.
Section 4. Bhediyon ki chipi hui toli. The Hidden Werewolf Pack.
While Winston is busy regaining his strength, the threat level is seriously escalating. An unseen pack of Badias, werewolves, is also closing in on Vincy. Now, the core mystery here is why Winston, with all of his highly tuned supernatural senses, cannot track his ancient enemies who are hiding right in plain sight. To understand why, we have to look at the specific rules of this supernatural universe. Vampires, or peshaks, have icy cold breath and require blood to awaken. Werewolves, on the other hand, radiate intense body heat. But here is the really genius part. After defeating Winston 25 years ago, the werewolves evolved. They actually developed a magical aura to completely camouflage their scent, effectively becoming invisible to a vampire's nose. And this camouflage leads to a pretty fatal misunderstanding. Winston senses intense body heat from a human student named Vicky, who's just walking down a wet road at sunset. Falsely identifying him as a hidden werewolf, Winston attacks with blinding speed, literally throwing him to a rooftop and brutally draining his blood. After realizing his massive mistake, Winston makes a fierce, possessive vow to protect Vincy at all costs. He says, "Meri Vincy ko mujhse dur karne wala mujhse nahi bach sakta." The one who separates my Vincy from me cannot escape me. Section 5. Sabse bade dhokhe ka pardafash, unveiling the biggest betrayal. Okay, so we are now building to the absolute peak of the suspense. As the days pass, Vincy and Winston grow closer, but a very specific night arrives. It's the night of the full moon. The lunar light strips away all that magical camouflage we talked about, and the truth can no longer hide in the shadows. Khidki se kudne wala wo bhayanak bhediya kaun tha? Who was the terrifying wolf jumping from the window? At exactly 11 p.m., Vincy steps into her room and is absolutely horrified to spot a massive, long-tailed beast escaping out of her window. Terrified and confused, she first calls the forest department and then frantically dials Winston, practically begging for his help. And right here is the massive plot twist that ties everything together. Vincy ki dost Joey, asal mein Sam thi. Vincy's sarcastic friend Joe was actually the werewolf pack leader Sam, in disguise the entire time. Think back to that earlier graveyard visit. Sam manipulated the whole thing. He intentionally got Vincy to bleed so Winston would be resurrected. And why? Purely so Sam could get a second chance to kill Winston permanently this time around. Crazy, right? Section 6. Amar Pyar aur Mahayudh. Immortal love and epic battle. The narrative pacing just hits maximum speed right here. Hearing her fear, Winston crashes straight through Vincy's window with superhuman speed to save her. In this incredibly powerful moment, he asks her to feel the coldness of his breath. Their kiss, which is fueled by his icy vampire nature, shatters the mental block she had, fully restoring Vincy's lost past life memories. Armed with the truth, Winston sweeps Vincy into his arms and speeds right into the dark forest to hunt down Sam. When they finally meet face to face, Winston delivers this chilling line that totally establishes his dominance. "Rahul ke tu tum ek bhediye hi, aur bhediye kabhi vampires se jeet nahi sakte." You will remain a werewolf, and werewolves can never defeat vampires. The ancient war is officially back on. Let's break down this chaotic final battle. All the vampires arrive and take their true, totally terrifying forms against the werewolf pack. It's an epic, all-out clash of supernatural forces. But you know what the biggest shock of all is? Vincy takes her destiny into her own hands. Shocking everyone on the battlefield, she fully transforms into a Peshaks herself. She slaughters Sam permanently, securing her immortal love with Winston once and for all. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, leaving us with a really massive question. With the Biedia pack defeated and Vincy fully transformed, what new dark forces will this immortal couple face next in Shimla? I mean, Winston and Vincy are finally reunited, their enemies destroyed. But now that they're both immortal vampires roaming the snowy streets, what happens when a newly transformed vampire struggles with that same insatiable thirst? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating story with me. And remember to keep your eyes open. You never know who might truly be lurking in the shadows.